the Lord's Prayer, beginning with Augustine, when Christianity was made the official Roman religion. The one thing Augustine did was to follow the anti-Semitism of Cyril of Alexandria, and himself called on the Roman army to come in and begin killing all of the Christians that they could find, the real Christians, the ones who would, they were called the Donatists, who did not follow the Roman leadership. And Augustine said what Jesus wrote about is not about debt cancellation, even though Jesus's first sermon was he'd come to restore the Jubilee year. He unrolls the scroll of Isaiah and said he's come to do that. So Augustine said, no, it's not about canceling debt. It's about sin, and especially sexual sin. Let's have the whole Catholic Church all about sexual sin and sexual egotism, and we all have it. We're inborn with sin from Adam. The church said, that's great. And you can expunge the sin by paying the church for an indulgence that'll get you to heaven. Oh, that's fantastic. So you have the Lord's Prayer Bowdlerized into say, forgive us our trespasses as we've forgiven our trespassers, or whatever. And the word in many languages like German, Schuld, means offense, and also the payment for settling the offense, as in the Wehrgeld. You have in not only in all the Indo-European languages the word for sin and debt payment to be the same, because in European society, ancient European society, the main debts people would owe, you didn't borrow to have to rent land or to live, but you did owe money if you injured somebody and owed them a payment, so that you'd make things whole and you wouldn't have the families feuding with each other. Paying Wehrgeld, a debt payment to the injured party, and if you didn't pay it, your family would pay it, because you didn't want the families fighting each other in a long feud. Well, the Catholic Church essentially took debt out of the Lord's Prayer, and by the 13th century, actually already by the 12th century, when you had the Roman Church waging the Crusades against the other Christians. People think the Crusades were against Islam. It was mainly against other Christians to subordinate them to Rome. And in order to fight the Cathars in southern France, in order to fight the Germans who resisted paying tribute to Rome, in order to avoid paying the leading Christian church, the Eastern Orthodox Church of Constantinople, the popes hired, there were warlords coming in, the Normans, warlords coming into Europe, and the popes made a deal beginning around 1050, first of all with in southern Italy and Sicily, a deal that we will recognize Robert Guiscard as the king if you pledge fealty to become a Roman vassal state, and we'll make sure that the population supports you, but you have to kill all the Christians, and they're the real Christians who were loyal to Constantinople, and you have to kill the Byzantine areas there. Then in 1066, they made a deal with another warlord, William the Conqueror, that, we'll say that you're the king, but you have to pay us Peter's pence and tribute. And if you have to pay us tribute, you have to let us nominate the bishops, so we make sure that you're not going to keep the church income for yourself, but they'll pay it to us, the popes. And the whole 13th century was all about this fight between the local aristocracy and trying to stop the kings from borrowing money from the bankers who were sponsored by the Vatican, by Rome, to lend money to the Norman kings to fight the enemies of Rome. And that's how the Magna Carta came into being under King John, and reaffirmed under his son, Henry III, to limit his ability to go into debt. The Pope, I think Pope Innocent III, excommunicated anyone who was opposing paying interest to the bankers, Italian bankers who they sponsored to make the loans to the king to go fight in southern Italy and Sicily against the Germans, which had gained influence there. So you had Christianity ending up worshiping debt, not its cancellation. This is not in most histories of the Crusades, but the first crusade was against Sicily, southern Italy, and England. And it was on the basis of that the Pope then was able to mobilize all massive armies to end up attacking Constantinople and what's now Yugoslavia, and take over the alternative churches to Rome. There were 5 patriarchates: Constantinople, I'm blocking Alexandria, Antioch, Jerusalem, and Rome was at the very bottom of the list. It was the least educated. It was a disaster in the whole 10th century. Even the Catholic Church says, well, this was a pornocracy, the rule by the harlots. When local families were able to just appoint their own members as popes. So you have I didn't realize, I'm now writing a history of debt from the Crusade to the modern times, and I didn't realize how the whole context for the reappearance of debt in Western civilization was all led by the church, culminating in the Medici Pope Leo X in 1515, having a big conference legitimizing the charging of interest ever since. I mean, it's just, if you look at the history of how economies have evolved and how society has evolved from the point of view, what are their debt relations, you get a completely different perspective and of causality. And what has been shaping the politics, the political system, the social system, religion, the social values, and you realize how the big fights of all of the church councils, the economic fights, the peasants' revolutions of the 14th century, 15th century onward, they were all about debt. And yet the topic is as expurgated from thought today as much as sex wasn't talked about before Freud. So what I want to do for debt is what Freud did for sex. It really is important.